What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hopefully, y'all are enjoying your first evening of 2022. Hopefully, y'all are staying safe out there, especially in the Mid-South, portions of the southern Ohio Valley in the Mid-South and Deep South. They're under the gun right now with severe weather, so hopefully, y'all are staying safe out there. I think the event today has definitely not been as aggressive and crazy and dangerous as it could have been. So that's the good news with that. The Storm Prediction Center, I feel like, did a great job not pulling the trigger on a moderate risk, which is a level 4 out of 5, and stuck with the enhanced risk, which is level 3 out of 5. But still dangerous weather ongoing through the evening and overnight. So y'all stay safe out there for sure. But in this video, we're going to continue to break down the snow risk for areas of Arkansas, Tennessee, portions of North Carolina, and this is really trending into a potentially a big-time snowstorm, maybe a major snowstorm for areas of Virginia and maybe small portions of North Carolina, and maybe reaching up to Washington, D.C. and portions of Maryland, Delaware, southern New Jersey. We're going to talk about that. There's a lot to discuss, and we're going to talk about what we know, as there's been some changes in the models even since my last video that I made about 5 hours ago. So we're going to break it all down for you guys, because you know me, I love my winter weather, I love my snow, I love talking about it, even when we never get it here in central South Carolina. But I know it'll be a nice change of pace. Snow is definitely, most of the time, much less dangerous than severe weather. So that's what we're going to break down. If you guys have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button for me. Like the video if you like it. I appreciate all the support. I had a couple people join my channel last night, and I appreciate y'all so much. So I'm up to 7. Still looking for more people to join my channel. It's just a way to give a little bit each month to help me increase my setup and make it more appealing. It goes to storm chasing, things like that. So I appreciate all the support. So let's talk about the snow, and let's start off by looking at the latest GFS. Let's look at the evolution of this storm and what's going to be going on. This shortwave trough really moves on out the way, and what happens here is a secondary low pressure develops right here. What this thing does is a big question mark. You know, is it going to be more northwest? Is it going to be more southeast? A lot of that depends on how fast it closes off over the mid-south and deep south, the western areas over here. How quickly does it close off? How much does it dig? How strong is it going to be? That tells us how more amped up precipitation-wise and more north it's going to be. This is already trending towards a more amped up storm just in general. It's really trending towards its own event outside the event that's going on right now. It's really trended towards its own thing. So even areas that aren't getting snow in the southeast and mid-Atlantic, areas like South Carolina, portions of North Carolina, Georgia, are just going to get flat out some heavy rain overnight Sunday into Monday outside of the line of storms that's going to move through overnight tonight. But I'm going to freeze this right here, and this is say about 2 a.m. in the morning, overnight tomorrow night into Monday morning, and this has a band of pretty heavy snow according to the GFS for the whole eastern half of Tennessee. This has some snow making it into southeast Kentucky. I know I have some followers from that area. West Virginia, it has the shield of snow making it up to you guys. Y'all will be cold enough for snow. And as cold air is filling in from the back side of this, whatever leftover precipitation is left over tomorrow night could be in the form of some flurries. Even you guys in Tennessee, I'm going to show you some short-range models. I meant to say Mississippi. You guys could see some flurries too. And there's a potential early on tomorrow evening that some flurries could even be in the Memphis area. In fact, I really think there will be. Maybe just some flat-out light snow. But as we get to the next panel here around 8 a.m., maybe a little earlier, give or take, this is when the storm system, depending on where this low pressure is, really starts to amp up. And look at this. This is the latest GFS, which is different than the last one I just showed you guys. It has precipitation much further north, which means it's pretty much more into the cold air. That means a large chunk of Virginia is under the gun with a major snowstorm. And this is what you call a pace bomb. This is heavy, wet snow. Nothing dry about this snow. I know you're thinking, well, all snow's wet. But there is a difference between wet snow and dry snow. Dry snow typically falls at more colder temperatures. That's the snow you really hope for like skiing conditions and things like that. Wet snow is that good snow that you can really build a really good snowman with or have a snowball fight with. That's the stuff that really weighs stuff down, and that typically falls at a higher temperature in the 30s and maybe upper 20s or so. But this will definitely be a wet snow. But Washington, D.C. being right here, you guys are begging for this to trend north if you like snow. And I know a lot of you guys in this area and over the last decade has really been gypped as far as y'all missing out on winter storms. But this one might be for y'all. If you look at the trends in North Carolina, you're close to. And by the way, the mountains, I think y'all are going to get a good event from this. I'm talking about Asheville, Knoxville, Gatlinburg. Snow overnight tomorrow night is looking all but certain for everybody in the mountains. Boone, this will be a nice few inch event for you guys. But outside the mountains, like the Triad of North Carolina, the Triangle of North Carolina, will y'all switch over to snow? That's a big question mark. And if y'all do, is it going to fall heavier enough to really accumulate on anything? And if it does, how much is it going to accumulate? There's so many questions here, but this is a pace bomb over Virginia. If you look at the run prior, what I'm about to do is I'm going to click on the down arrow button, which goes to the 12Z run, which is the run prior to this. Click this. Notice how the shield goes down. Notice how the low pressure ticks a little bit further south. If I go to the present run, you see what I'm seeing here. Each time I go to the present run, which is right here, it ticks more north. I go to the run prior. Precipitation ticks more south. Run prior to that stays about the same. Run prior to that stays about the same. But this is a big, substantial shift north on and more of an amp storm on the GFS. It really is. And then we go to the next frame, which is, in the afternoon hours from Monday Eastern Standard Time. The snow really ramps up near the Delmarva area, the Maryland, Delaware, southern New Jersey area. And this shield of snow, which will be a stout cutoff, gets very close to New York City and Boston and Philadelphia and Baltimore. But Washington, D.C., watch out for you guys. I really think soil temperatures are very warm, but this turns into a big old storm. Maybe our folks in these Canadian islands out here might get some snow. And then it moves on out of here. But, we look at the vortice map here and see what's going on. And we stop the piece of energy right here as we get into the evening hours of Monday. It's sitting right over the Mid-South and Deep South, the western portions of it. If I go to the run, I'm going to go about 8 or 10 runs prior to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Notice it's further east. It's not really as together. And, well, it is together. It's coming together a little bit early. But if I back it up all the way till now, what's going on here is it's really digging more, one, and it's slowing down, which is what you need for a more amped up system. Now, right in here, as we're looking right in here, the system really starts to consolidate and dig here and become negatively tilted. And then it really digs here and really amplifies, and it really becomes its own thing. It separates itself from the northern stream. It's its own entity, if you will, and it begins to strengthen and becomes an all-out storm, if you will, for the mid-Atlantic. Rainstorm for the southeast, snowstorm for the upper southeast and mid-Atlantic. Now, one thing I'll show you here is the GEFS as far as precipitation. This isn't snow, this is precipitation. If you guys are just wondering how much is it going to snow at my house, well, I'll try to answer somewhat of that here in a second. But this is precipitation on the GEFS ensembles. Notice how amped up it is on the run right now. This is a 2 to 3 inch mean as far as precipitation in North Carolina and Virginia. If you look at the prior run prior to this, just like I was doing on the GFS on the actual run, notice how not as amplified as just in general, and where the heaviest precipitation is more in North Carolina. And, bang, the latest GFS really amplifies the system. More precipitation in Virginia where there's more cold air, therefore more snow. You also look at the 850s, which is the temperatures about 4,000 to 5,000 feet above our heads. And this is big because you need sub-freezing in Fahrenheit 32 degrees or lower, 850s. You need cold air aloft and higher for this to be all snow if you want snow to fall at 34, 35 degrees. So the more amped up this low pressure gets, probably the more north it comes. And you see that with the latest run. You see this little tick north. This is the run prior, this is the run now, and that tick north makes all the difference. What that happens here is it starts to what we call roast the 850s. So it warms up the air just above our heads, and when that happens here, it creates a warm nose. So snow can be falling at a certain level of the atmosphere, but then when it gets above freezing, it melts. Therefore, when you have surface temperatures which are not going to cooperate, it's going to stay a cold rain in areas of the coastal plains in North Carolina as opposed to a snow event. Now, once the storm moves away, the 850s crash, cold air moves in, and any precipitation left might be falling in the form of snow even in North Carolina. But with this event like this, you would figure that this would be all snow in Virginia, and except the far southeastern areas where this low pressure gets very close. Now, I know you're saying, well, what about now South Carolina? Looks like the 850s are crashing. Well, at this point, most of the heaviest precipitation is on out of here, but I don't think this is South Carolina storm. Closer look at this as a whole with the latest short-range model is you got this band of precipitation develops at around 3 p.m. tomorrow, 3 p.m. It starts up in western Tennessee. This might provide some flurries for areas of Memphis tomorrow around this time. It's crazy. Y'all are getting heavy rain. Cold front's going to move through overnight, and then some moisture might return in the form of snow from Memphis and northern Mississippi. And this moves through a band of precipitation, starts out as rain, cold air's filtering in behind it. Snow's falling, potentially a band of a couple hours of snow in Huntsville. We'll watch that. And then it gets into the mountains. The low pressure begins to deepen, strengthen, heavier precipitation. In response to that, heavy snow begins falling in the overnight hours tomorrow into Monday morning. Heavy snow's falling in the mountains. And then what happens after this is a big question mark. You get what you call a deformation band or an upper level low that really begins to back some and deepen and get some heavier precipitation into the triad of North Carolina. Will that fall as heavier rain or a brief area of heavy snow or moderate snow that might pivot through North Carolina? But meanwhile, it is absolutely pouring snow in Virginia. Nice band of snow into Washington, D.C., getting into Delaware. But notice how the far southeast tip of Virginia near Norfolk and everything like that and Elizabeth City is all rain, and it's really because basically the low pressure gets too close to y'all and it roasts the 850s and warms up the air just above the surface too much. But as this moves away, cold air filters in, and even you guys might turn into some snow by midday. So very interesting system, really is. The European came in hot as far as good for snow, and here it comes, brings in a band of heavier snow Monday morning. It's a little bit slower with the storm, but shows a nice event for northern sections of North Carolina, even outside the mountains, and then a nice event for southern and central Virginia. Moves in, and this is what I'm talking about when the 850s crash. Maybe some backside snow for even areas of the coastal plains of North Carolina and southeast Virginia. There's still a lot of question marks with this guys. You're not going to hear your locals talking about inches of snow, but I can tell you, here's the EPS mean, which is a respectable ensemble to use. I'm starting to believe this. Maybe a couple inches of snow for Virginia, and maybe this ticks north on the next 18Z run, and I definitely believe the mountains. And then for Tennessee, I definitely believe this. I think there's a chance that maybe somebody, especially on the plateau of Tennessee outside the main range of mountains, could see an inch of snow. Do I think it's going to melt fast? Probably. Do I think most of Tennessee is going to at least see some flurries? I think so. Not to leave Kentucky out. Y'all are right on the edge, but watch for the tick north. And then just into North Carolina, I think someone can see a dusting to a quick inch before it melts very quickly. I really do, but Virginia, watch out. But here's the crazy run on the GFS, showing 1.5 feet of snow for certain areas in the Delmarva and areas of central Virginia and eastern Virginia. That's ridiculous. It's not going to snow that much. Precipitation-wise, it might snow that much, but it's not going to pile up that much because the soil temperatures are just not there. They're in the 50s and 60s in this region, and there's been no cold air to cool it down. So I will show you this. Look at the tick north. look at the tick north. You can see it with snowfall accumulation, how it ticks north with the heavier precipitation. So I will mention in general, colder pattern, much more wintry pattern moving in. This storm moves on through, and then look at late week. Another storm kicks up. That's kind of the same kind of pattern, but this might provide another big winter event for the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. And who knows, this can trend more favorable for the upper Southeast, areas of Tennessee, maybe the mid-South. We'll see how it goes, but much more favorable pattern setting her up, and then maybe a big-time Arctic blast as we get to more mid-month. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully people see snow. Hopefully it works out, and hopefully everybody stays safe tonight. God bless all y'all. Have a great night.